Okay, so it's time for us to go ahead and get back into our coverage over Spawn. And with that being said, man, we're going to sit down and dive into a pretty long storyline. My goal is to cover issues number 95 up to 100 for this video right here to kind of cap off the idea that we have covered at least 100 issues of Spawn. Well, we already have, because we covered other Spawn books as well, but either way, for the main Spawn series, we're finally diving into issue number 100. Now, with that being said, issue number 95 does open up with two guys who had just stolen a car. And they also have a dead body in the back seat. But while they're trying to get away with the car and also the dead body, well, you have Spawn stand right in the middle of the road. And of course, it causes them to crash their car. Now, we're left to believe at first that they had died in that car accident. And technically, they did. But then out of nowhere, all these different markings begin to appear all over their body. Now, before we're able to explore that, I want to go ahead and explore the idea of Terry and also Wanda. You know, Terry, the best friend of Spawn, but also who married his wife after Spawn had died, Wanda. Now, when it comes to Wanda and Terry, they're going through a lot at the moment. The whole idea that right now, you know, Wanda and Terry have some money issues. Also, the idea their daughter has some own issues as well. But in our last video, we had talked about the idea of Wanda now being pregnant. Here's the problem though. For Terry, he has not touched his wife in months. And so it's kind of like, wait a second, how in the world are you pregnant right now? It's not even possible. Now for Wanda, she's kind of like, listen, I don't understand it either. But for Terry, it's him right now accusing her of the idea of possibly cheating. Now for Wanda, we already know she didn't cheat, but it's hard for Terry believing the idea that Wanda did not cheat because here she is right now, she's pregnant, but of course he has not touched her in months. And so now their marriage is going through another situation. But now we switch back over to the two guys we saw earlier who had supposedly survived the car crash. And the reason why, because yes, those two guys did die, but their bodies were possessed by demons, better known as Ab and Zab. Now, these two guys, they have a goal right now to bring the end of the world. And this right here is kind of called back to our previous video, the idea of bringing in a new creature into the world. But now we can finally pick up the star of the book, and that would be Spawn himself. Now, for Spawn at the moment, it's him right now at his grave, but also kind of seeing these visions of his mortal self. And so we see his mortal self kind of coming to Spawn as a way to warn him. Because for Spawn at this point in time in Image Comics, Spawn did not choose a side when it comes to heaven nor hell. Right now, it's him kind of going out in the world and giving out his own kind of justice. But the reason why I'm saying that, because right now, his mortal self is kind of like, dude, things are going to pop off very soon. Things are about to get a whole lot worse. And the thing is, he's correct because this is only the first chapter of today's video. Now, in his whole entire storyline, we're going to sit down and talk about the idea of Urizen. Now, he did briefly kind of been brought up in our last video, but in this video, he becomes very important. Now, in our last video, we had talked about the idea that for Urizen, there was this group of people, 13 to be exact, and when it came to them, they would eat one another. And the reason why, because they believe that if you eat somebody, their soul is then added into your own soul. And so when it came to that group, the last person standing should have 13 souls in total, including theirs and the other 12 that they ate over time. And the reason why, because then that person should be like the perfect host for Urizen. Now Spawn, he shut that down. But when it comes to Ab and Zab, what they want to do right now is to bring in the end to the world. And how to do that? Well, you bring in Urizen. And so with them right now being at this diner, they have 13 people. They kill all 13 people, carry their bodies over to a hill, and then begin the process of burning their bodies. And with the 13 souls dying on a full moon, just like that, Urizen has been released. And so this chapter right here does close on the note where we do see Spawn being confronted by Urizen. So it's kind of like, okay, cool. This storyline is going into that direction where it should be Spawn fighting against this brand new powerful creature. But as we dive into issue number 96, we're now picking up with the idea of Ab and Zab just trying their best to get the heck out of town because they both know that with Urizen being out there, he's going to bring chaos into the area he's currently in. But also, like, they're wondering what's going to happen to Spawn. And they truly do believe that Spawn is going to meet his end, that Spawn is going to die by the hands of Urizen. And man, let me tell y'all, like for Ab and Zab, they are technically correct because this battle is very short-lived because you do have Spawn trying his best to fight against Urizen. Now for Spawn, he truly believes that he could actually win this battle. And matter of fact, it gets to that point where we do see Spawn being able to knock down Urizen. So it's kind of like, okay, cool, he knocked him down. Urizen should be officially defeated. But you didn't have Urizen being able to get right back up, grab Spawn, and when you have Spawn look into Urizen's eyes, man, when he looks into Urizen's eyes, all he sees a world lifeless, deathless, dreamless, soulless, an endless gray realm of despair. And you then have Urizen grab Spawn and impale him on a metal pole. And so we're kind of left to believe that Spawn is now officially dead. But when we do switch over to Wanda, things do kind of get a tad bit wild here because we do see Wanda right now, and it does seem like the pregnancy has sped up a tad bit too fast because it does seem like at first she's very close to being well due. And so you then have this whole entire scene right here go pretty dark where her pregnancy goes wrong, like blood spilling out of her belly. But then she wakes up and realizes that it was only a dream and she's still in the early stages of her pregnancy. Now, when she does wake up from that nightmare, she's looking for Terry, but Terry's not there. And so we are continuing the idea of their marriage right now being in trouble. But when we do switch over to Spawn again, Spawn's still there, impaled by the actual metal pole. But then the plant life around him, it begins to cover up his body, beginning to take away his body, it seems like. And so we're kind of left to wonder what could possibly happen here, Spawn, now with the idea of plant life trying to revive him. But let's go ahead and switch over to Ab and Zab because the reason why we see the return of a certain character. Because while you have those two guys kind of leave town, they are confronted by no other than Angela. And for Angela, she knows what's happening right now in the world and she wants some answers. And when it comes to Angela, y'all, you already know she's going to get the answers that she is currently looking for. But as we enter Spawn issue number 97, we're now seeing Spawn having a conversation with the Green World. Now, the Green World is like a third party outside of heaven and hell. It's basically the planet Earth that's sentient, it's alive, and it's calling out to Spawn, telling Spawn, like, what's about to happen right now between heaven and hell. Like a massive destruction is going to happen. And so while you do have the Green World trying to begin the process of healing Spawn, you then have Angela appear. Now, with Angela being here, it's really important because one, she is an angel, but two, it's also the idea of this is the last story that Angela is in when it comes to Spawn comics. And the reason why, because, well, some legal issues. But when it comes to Angela, it's her right now saying like, listen, so the world is about to end. With me being an angel and you being a Hellspawn, it's about time for you and I to team up and find a way to bring down Urizen. But the problem is that right now, we need to get some intel on how to bring it down because right now, we are facing the possibility of the end of the world. Now, with Urizen being released in the world already, in the area he's in right now, you already have different people being like influenced the idea of killing each other. And so we do see a mother right now killing off her whole entire family. It's pretty brutal, pretty nasty. And matter of fact, I don't want to really show it because, you know, YouTube stuff. But we do see the fact that with Urizen being out there, you now having people be influenced by him and basically going out of their way to kill one another. So chaos has now truly begun on the planet Earth. Now, this point right here was for me like, okay, this is where we're going to see the war between heaven and hell. And the reason why, because we now pick up with a group of angels. And these groups of angels right now, they're kind of like, okay, you know what? go ahead, get ready for war, guys. We got to bring down Urizen, because for them, they're like, they know that somebody in hell had to release Urizen for some unknown reason. And so for heaven, they have to answer back. They have to bring down Urizen. Except you didn't have the council send over a message to the angels and say, don't do anything at all. Let the monster roam the world. And for the angels, they can't believe what they're currently hearing at the moment. Now, for Spawn and also Angela, what they do, they head over to Cogliastro, and I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. Now, for Cogliastro, he has, most intel on everything happening across the world. And so for Spawn and also Angela, they want to know how to bring down Urizen. But he tells them, you can't. The only thing you can do is contain it. And last time he appeared, it took the combined forces of heaven and hell to work together to bring down Urizen. And right now, heaven and hell are not going to work together. And it does seem like hell was the one who had released Urizen. And so once you have heaven kind of answer that attack right there, then you're going to have hell also answer back with their own attack against heaven again, basically beginning the war between heaven and hell. Now, when it comes to Ab and Zab, for Angela, she wants to know who they work for. And he says, no one. They're freelancers, gun for hire. So that right there tells that somebody out there had to hire Ab and Zab to go out of their way to release Urizen. The question is right now, who hired them? But when we do switch over to the angels once again, you didn't have Domina appear. Now for Domina, she has word from the council. It's her saying like, hey, listen, so the council did say like, we should not attack Urizen. But it's her right now saying we should go against the orders, because right now it's kind of like the earth is in danger. You basically have this powerful creature out there who are causing chaos across the world. Right now it's only one area, but sooner or later that chaos is going to spread. Once it does spread, it's going to bring the end to the entire world. And so it's Domina saying, let's go ahead and go against our orders. But when we do switch back over to Spawn and also Angela, it's really more her telling Spawn like he needs to not relax, but really more focus on the unexpected, meaning that he all just rushes into battle and not try to figure out like what could possibly happen down the road in that battle when it comes to him fighting against his enemies. And so for a character like Urizen, it's really more the idea that they need to be prepared. But it's also her saying, you did not fully understand what you had become. Now that line right there is somewhat important, but when we do switch over to Urizen, we see all the different people that he had technically influenced. They're all right now just causing chaos in that one particular area. But now the question is, what can Angela and Spawn do to bring down Urizen? And will they get the help from the angels to find a way to bring down Urizen? And so as we do transition to Spawn issue number 98, we really get into the idea of us seeing Wanda and Terry going to the doctors, where they do confirm, yes, she is pregnant, but she's 6 months pregnant. Now for Terry, that does kind of help begin the process of restoring their marriage. And the reason why, because at first, he truly did believe that she did cheat on him, but now there is a possibility that the child is his because they did have sex before, well, everything went down in their family. So they can kind of celebrate here for a moment. But we switch over to Spawn and also Angela. Now these two characters at the moment are trying to interrogate Ab and Zab to hopefully get information out of them. The problem is that they're not really able to. So whoever did hire these two guys, they put a spell on them. Make sure that, hey, you can never say my name to anybody at all. That person right now is doing a really good job trying to cover up their tracks. But for Spawn and also for Angela, what comes next? Well, they now have to go up against Urizen right now and to hopefully defeat him. Now, getting back over to the angels, we do have another problem here. It's the idea that now you have two different groups of angels, where you have one group say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and go out of our way to go save the earth. Forget what the council told us. They are wrong. We got to stop Urizen. But for the other group, they're like, no, we must follow the orders of the council. It's the right thing to do. And so the real question is, who's in the right here right now? Now, you do have that one group right there say, you know what? Y'all can stay behind. we're going to leave right now and try our best to protect the earth, to protect the humans, the souls down there who are being basically, corrupted by Urizen being there and bringing chaos into the world. Now, for Spawn and also Angela, they're kind of wondering, like, okay, what can be our next move here? Like, what should we do here at the moment? And so we really do see Spawn right now just using his powers to pull up all the different plant life to kind of close Urizen in one particular area. Now, technically, he'll find a way out of that. Now, for Angela, she wants to know, where in the world did Spawn get that kind of power from? Now, for Spawn, he does not tell her anything at all at the moment. But for right now, he's kind of hinting at the idea that that kind of power was given to him. Now, this leads into another problem. Because when we do switch over to Wanda and also Terry, we see the two characters being able to, make amends with one another. I know you're saying right now, Fresh, how in the world is that a problem right there? Because now it does seem like Terry and Wanda's marriage is getting back on track, right? No, that's not the problem. It's their daughter right now, Cyan, because while you do have her right now in her room excited about the idea of being a big sister, all the different dolls in her room, they begin to change their faces and of course take the form of a character known as Mammon. Now for Mammon, he was somebody that was defeated by Spawn earlier in our coverage. So of course the dude right now is still kind of sad about that, but it's right now him just, being here and torturing the young mind of Cyan. But getting back over to Spawn and also Angela, they want to move in. They want to find a way to officially stop Urizen. But then you have Angela realize she has to go. And the reason why, because, well, the angels. And so when she does leave, you have Spawn say, you know what? I am not going to stand here and wait for her. Now, she did say like, hey, Spawn, do not go in there and fight against Urizen. You already lost once, so wait for me to come back. But he's kind of like, nah, I'm going in. And so he leaves right after she leaves to go have a conversation with her fellow sisters. And this conversation is really important because it's her laying everything out for her fellow angels because they wanted to go to Earth to fight against Urizen. But for Angela, she remembers what Kaliashro told her. Listen, with the idea of hell releasing Urizen, heaven will try to counterattack. Once heaven does that, that gives hell the right to counterattack again, speeding up the all-out war between heaven and hell. And so the idea of the angels going down there to fight against Urizen, that's the first counterattack. Once the angels do defeat Urizen, for hell, they have the right to do their counterattack as well. It's her saying, don't go down there. It's basically a trap right now. Let me and Spawn find a way to bring the creature down. I will fight you guys here and now to make sure that you guys do not mess everything up for everybody here. But as we get into the closing pages for issue number 98, back down on Earth, Spawn is fighting against Urizen. It's him saying like, nah, I gotta stop now. I gotta win now. And so this leads into the final two chapters of this entire storyline. And so as we dive into issue number 99, we really do pick up with the idea of seeing Angela just fighting against, well, her fellow angels. Now, let's also not forget here that around this time in Image Comics for Angela, she was an outcast. Like she turned her back on the idea of being following orders from the Council of Angels or the Council of Heaven. And so right now for her, she's kind of like, listen, I'm the only one right now here at this moment who has common sense to understand that if you guys go to Earth, the only thing you're going to do is help speed up the process of a war to happen between heaven and hell. Why in the world are you not trying to listen to us at all? But back on Earth, you have Spawn right now trying his best to fight against Urizen. Now, at first, it does seem like the two characters are not on the same level with one another. It does seem like that Urizen does have the edge over Spawn. My point is right now that when it comes to Spawn, though, as the battle goes on, it does seem like he's now becoming the same level as Urizen. But also the way Spawn is speaking is him saying, we are stronger than you. We are better than you. We are going to defeat you. It's the whole idea of we. Like, what does Spawn mean by those words right there, though? When it comes to science, she's hanging out with her grandmother. We also kind of get the idea that there is this connection between her and also Spawn. And so when it comes to Spawn's battle for science, she kind of feels like he's on the verge of dying. Now, earlier she was told that, hey, listen, we're going to kill off your friend. We're going to kill off Spawn. And so for her, she's really worried. And so for her grandmother, it's right now somebody in her corner telling her to be brave, to, continue to pray for her friend, to believe in her friend. Of course, talking about the idea of Spawn. But when we switch over to Wanda and also Terry, we kind of get the idea that for Wanda, this pregnancy is not really going in a very normal way. We also get the idea that the pregnancy is beginning to speed up a tad bit. And so you do have the two characters right now being very concerned. But we now go ahead and switch over to Angela. And when it comes to Angela, she's still fighting against her fellow angels, but you didn't have the council appear. And they're like, hey, knock it off. Like, we told y'all to not go out there, and we have a good reason why. And so once you do have the council being able to step in, you didn't have Angela being able to go back down to earth and begin the process of the final battle between her and Spawn going up against, Urizen. And so when it comes to issue number 99, it really does end on the note where you really do have Spawn be that guy, right? Like, you have Spawn show how powerful he is at this moment. Now, we're also kind of getting the idea that somebody, the Green World most likely, is giving Spawn this kind of power he needs to be able to bring down Urizen. Now, again, he can't kill the creature. He can only contain it. He can only lock it away. And so what we're seeing right now at this moment is really more just Angela and Spawn being able to work together as a way to put this creature back into the world, seal it away once again so that the chaos can officially stop. Now for Spawn, the day is not over yet, because Spawn, he wants to know, like, who in the world did Ab and Zal work for to have those two guys release that kind of creature into the world? And so you have Spawn and also Angela, they begin to interrogate them, and they tell them one particular name: Malebolgia. And so as we get into Spawn issue number 100, we really get into the idea of Malebolgia knowing that he had officially failed, that Urizen was defeated by Spawn. And so it's the idea that for Malebolgia, the guy who owns the 8th circle of hell, he's kind of like, you know what, I'm still okay, even though I technically lost. Now, let's not forget, Malebolgia, again, he's the owner of the 8th circle. He's one of the Hell Lords. But this kind of brings the idea of the possibility of a Hell Lord being killed off. Because once we do see Malebolgia kind of not really being concerned about the idea of Spawn coming after him, we see Spawn and Angela kind of continuing to interrogate the two demons who worked for Malebolgia in this entire storyline. And for Spawn, it's really him saying, like, no, if Malebolgia did this, then I need to go after him. I need to defeat him. I need to technically kill off that son of a you-know-what. Now for Wanda, her pregnancy right now, it seems like it's getting worse and worse when you do have, Terry rush her over to the hospital. And so we're kind of left to wonder what could be the possible outcome with the idea of Wanda going into the hospital. But it's now time for Spawn to go back into hell and to finally end this battle between him and also Malebolgia. Now, you do have Cog reappear. And with Cog reappearing here is really more him saying, like, listen, I showed you one gateway that led into heaven. And now it's time for me to show you another gateway that leads into hell. And so you didn't have to take Spawn over to where Spawn was rebirthed at, because for Al Simmons, he gave his soul for the chance to see his wife again, but not knowing that it would turn him into a hell Spawn. But he came to life in this one exact spot. This spot right here, there's a gateway that leads back into hell. And so it's Spawn kind of like, okay, Cog, open up that gateway because I need to get back into hell. And so we do see Spawn entering hell. It's the idea of, you know what, Image Comics, it's them saying, let's go ahead and wrap up the whole idea of 100 issues right here with Spawn killing off a Hell Lord. And I really do like this final battle between Spawn and also Malebolgia, because for Spawn, once he does enter Hell, right? And once you do have Spawn being able to find the Hell Lord that he wants to kill so badly, but before he does kill off that Hell Lord, he sees all these different people who are stuck in Hell. Some of these people, they blame him for the reason why they're in Hell. And matter of fact, we do see a couple of characters that Spawn has killed off when it came to him trying to protect the Earth, and their souls went into Hell. But either way for Spawn, it's now time for this final battle. Now, the final battle, Spawn does get his butt whooped first. Like, it does look like Spawn is going to officially lose this battle. But everything turns around for Spawn when it comes to one other person coming with him into Hell. And of course, you already know who that is. It's going to be Angela. Now, guys, this is where fans were very upset about the idea of Angela. You see, as we all know, when it came to Angela, she was kind of part in some legal trouble. And I'm not going to dive into the whole idea of Image Comics, Marvel Comics, her creators. Just know that when it came to her legal situation, she no longer is part of the Spawn universe. She's now part of the Marvel universe. And if I remember correctly, she's like Thor's sister now who comes from heaven. But it's the idea that you have three characters who were part of this whole legal situation. And so after this storyline, those three characters were officially removed. I want to say again, it was Angela, Cogliastro, and Malebolgia. I could be wrong the last two, but it's the idea of you know what? Let's go ahead and kill off Angela. And they do. Matter of fact, as the battle goes on, and you have her believe that she can get a breather and make sure Spawn is okay. But while making sure he is okay, she gets stabbed. And so just like that, Angela's dead right off the board. And when Spawn, he then kills off Malebolgia. He's so angry about the idea what happened to her, he kills off the Hell Lord. And so just like that, two characters are officially off the board when it comes to the Spawn universe. Now, after killing the Hell Lord Malebolgia, you didn't have Spawn being confronted by Mammon. Now, for Mammon, it's him kind of informing the idea that Spawn is now this Hell Lord. He is the Hell Lord, the Eighth Circle. But for Spawn, he's kind of like, dude, I don't give a you-know-what right now, because right now, a close ally of mine is officially dead. And so you didn't have Spawn take her body over to the Angels. Now, here's the thing. You didn't have the Angels try to hand Spawn a halo. And for me, it's really more than saying hey, listen, for everything you did, you have now been officially forgiven. You have redeemed yourself. The gate of heaven is now open to you. But for Spawn, it's more him saying no. I'm tired of all of this mess. I'm tired of the idea of heaven and hell. And matter of fact, I want you guys to stay away from me, but also stay away from the earth as well. And so you have Spawn just walk away without the idea of even taking his halo with him. Now, one of the last things I do want to talk about is the idea of Wanda, because she did die in the middle of this storyline. And matter of fact, it was an angel that brought her back to life. Now, when it came to her pregnancy, we kind of find out, yeah, she had twins. And so, as y'all know out there, the twin storylines, they kind of go pretty wild down the road and kind of Spawn comics. But for right now, it's the idea that now her and Terry have three kids to raise. And so, with issue 100 ending, it's kind of like a new beginning for Spawn. Okay, you know what? We did 100 issues. Where can we go next with this character? And tell you guys right now, they go a lot of different places when it comes to Al Simon being a Hell Spawn. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.